Just a reminder that we have a short publishing schedule this week as I'm going to be traveling Thursday through Monday. If you're in New York City on Thursday, you should come out to the panel discussion that I'm moderating at the New York City Bar Association's headquarters at 42 West 44th Street. Titled Springtime for Cannabis, 75 Years After the LaGuardia Committee Report, What's Next for New York? The panel will feature all kinds of smart and knowledgeable people, including New York State Senator Liz Krueger, chair of the Senate Finance Committee. And it will also have me moderating. Thursday's discussion runs from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. and is free for New York City Bar Association members and members of the public, with non-association lawyers being asked to pay $15 at the door. Navigate over to the New York City Bar Association's website to learn more and to register. So this week we'll be publishing a podcast tomorrow and Wednesday, and then we'll be back in the swing of things the following Tuesday. This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the nation's fastest growing multi-state cannabis operators with 44 local dispensaries, 12 cultivation sites, and 11 processing facilities, serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at Curaleaf.com, with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, May 6th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 719 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We lead off this week's news in Illinois, where on Saturday, Governor J.B. Pritzker announced a detailed plan to legalize adult use marijuana, with full legalization to flip over in the state on January 1st of next year if the legislation he is proposing passes. Marijuana Moments got their hands on a copy of an 11-page summary of Governor Pritzker's bill, which runs 522 pages in all, which you should click over to. Current medical shops in Illinois would be allowed a head start on getting licensed to dispense adult use marijuana, and a social equity program would be set up backed by a $20 million fund for low interest loans, something we haven't really seen much of yet, but should. The tax rate would differentiate between marijuana strains of different THC strength, another unique feature not seen in many, if any, states. Drop me an email if I'm wrong about that. Illinois' current legislative session ends at the end of this month, so lawmakers better get moving. Pop over to Marijuana Moment for the full read on this one. Arkansas will soon see the opening of its first medical marijuana dispensary, as the state just signed off on all final approvals needed for the Doctor's Orders RX dispensary located in Hot Springs. One of the nation's licensed cultivators, the Bold team, said they expect to have their first harvest ready on May 12th, with other growers set to harvest this summer, leaving Arkansas patients just days away from being able to buy, for the first time, legal medical cannabis. Nice. Our final top story today swings us out to Ohio, where the state's medical board is considering the addition of 5 new qualifying conditions to the 21 already set down in the program. The 12-member board will hold a vote this week on adding to the list depression, insomnia, anxiety, autism, and opioid addiction, with a final vote to be held in June. The Cincinnati Enquirer is reporting that Ohio would be, if all 5 conditions were allowed, the first nation in the state to include insomnia and depression as a medical cannabis qualifying condition. Writer Ann Saker also points out that if the list was accepted wholesale, more than half of all adults of age in Ohio would qualify as medical patients. Not a bad story to read in full. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's fastest growing multi-state cannabis operators, with 44 local dispensaries, 12 cultivation sites, and 11 processing facilities, serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Curaleaf is proud to be working to get the word out about and to raise funds for the Veterans Cannabis Project, the leading organization advocating for unrestricted and supported access to medical cannabis for military veteran patients. Curaleaf is raising funds for the Veterans Cannabis Project via in-store displays they're setting up in their numerous dispensaries. You can learn more about their work over at curaleaf.com, where you'll find a link for the Veterans Cannabis Project under About Us, and more specifically about the project itself over at their website at vetscp.org. That's vetscp.org. All right, time for the Blitz. Julie Weed is a good story in the New York Times looking at the new social phenomenon of people having to break the news to their parents that they are now working in the legal marijuana industry. Even as marijuana has become more popular than it's ever been, with social stigmas falling away all over the country, there's still a lot of people who think cannabis is the first step to hellfire and damnation. And Julie's story nicely distills some of the experiences people now working as legal cannabis entrepreneurs, software developers, and cultivators have had in telling their moms, dads, and other family members about it. Another good read today. A law firm in Vancouver, Canada says that a new electronic testing machine meant to test the saliva of drivers for the presence of intoxicating drugs, including marijuana, is faulty and registered false positives when people use it after eating foods like poppy seed muffins. The devices, which are meant to be used roadside by police, are called the Drager Drug Test 5000 and are also unable to differentiate between THC and CBD. At least according to the law offices of Acument Law, which spent a few days running tests. This story is a great reminder of why it's important to be skeptical about anyone purporting to have a way to test people's level of marijuana impairment, because it just doesn't exist. It might not ever. Keeping our sights pegged to Canada, we have a newly formed industry group comprised of 10 legal marijuana companies pressing the government to take a look at relaxing some of the proposed rules for marijuana-infused edibles, which will become legal in the nation later this year. Among the requested changes by the Cannabis Beverage Producers Alliance are that producers not be required to build out completely separate production space for making infused drinks, that they be allowed to use the words beer and wine in marketing their products, and that they also be allowed to use logos and other branding marks on their packaging. MassLive put together a nice roundup of all the adult use dispensaries currently open in Massachusetts. Right now, there are 17 open adult use shops throughout the state, with more slated to open up on a continual basis. Pop over if you need to find a local shop in the Bay State. The New Zealand government will consider a plan today to put up a 2020 voter initiative on adult use marijuana legalization. There are a few details public yet about the plan, which will be presented today to the New Zealand cabinet by the Justice Minister. Doug Ford, the Conservative Premier of Ontario, is being criticized for the botched rollout of that Canadian province's legal marijuana industry, which has been beset by lagging sales due to few open dispensaries and a provincial monopoly on online sales. The latest twist in this storyline is the news that 7 of the 25 people given the first dispensary licenses in Ontario have had their $50,000 letters of credit pulled because they haven't yet opened up. Ouch. Maybe not a bad one to read for lessons on how not to do it. Our final top story today returns us to Ohio, where despite the fact that medical marijuana is now legal, the powers that be at Ohio University have confirmed that they are following federal law and that students at the school will not be free to have or use their medicine. Though thankfully they won't be booting out students simply for being registered medical patients. That's not really something you should try to get credit for. You're not supposed to do that. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Curaleaf, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.